So, it turns out Gotham High is not just a cringe fest, it's quite possibly the worst thing to ever happen to the Batman mythos. But before I dive headfirst into this dumpster fire, I'm gonna need some aspirin because I've got a feeling that by the end of this I'm going to have a splitting headache and I'm going to need a pillow. Those of you who've seen my other Gotham High video know what the pillow is for. Those of you who haven't are about to find out really soon. And here we go. My attention was brought to an article from Bounding Into Comics that showcases exactly how horrible Gotham High is going to be. But I'm sure it's gonna start off nice and easy. Let's have a look. DC Comics circles the drain, reveals gay Alfred and Chinese American Bruce Wayne and more franchise killing abominations? Oh my god! Oh no! That's just the title. Oh no. Alright. I got a sneaking suspicion that this is going to get worse, so let's see. DC Comics rolled out the red carpet with a big snazzy Entertainment Weekly interview for their latest creative team that effectively butchers Batman canon. Melissa De La Cruz and illustrator Thomas Pitilli spoke with the magazine about their upcoming graphic novel Gotham High, that Entertainment Weekly describes as Batman meets Gossip Girl. I didn't expect the pillow to come into play this early, but what are you gonna do? Alright, I'm better now. Let's continue. The interview began with De La Cruz admitting she has no clue about Batman. So let's have a dramatic recreation of how that hiring process went. Comic book sales are down for some reason. Maybe we need to diversify more characters like, I don't know, Batman, and have a love triangle between him, the Joker, and Catwoman. Get me a list of possible writers, please. Here's the list, sir. Melissa De La Cruz. She sounds nice and diverse. Hello? Is this Miss De La Cruz? This is Melissa De La Cruz. Miss De La Cruz, what do you know about Batman? Batman? Absolutely nothing. Perfect, you're hired. Moving on. She states, my husband is a big Batman fan, so when DC called and said, we want to do a young adult line, what character do you want to do? I wanted to do Batman. It's such a fun, iconic character that I could put my own spin on.
I'm an adult. I can handle this. I'm okay.
Batman is such a fun character. The character you, by your own admission, know nothing about. The character who's on a never-ending crusade to eradicate crime because his parents were murdered when he was a kid is a fun character. Lady, are you out of your mind? You get the hell out! Radically altering Batman and his mythos. You don't say. After admitting she has no clue about Batman, De La Cruz then details her lack of knowledge doesn't matter because she's radically altering the character anyway. She explains, Bruce Wayne is the billionaire. He's the richest man alive, so I thought, wouldn't it be fun if his family was Chinese and from Hong Kong? That made it feel real. Real to whom exactly? Judging by the way things are going so far, I'm sure it's about to get a lot worse. De la Cruz then details she's basically telling an autobiography of her own life. Here we go. Using a DC comic book character. I'm part Chinese. My brother lives in Hong Kong, so I thought it would be great to put what I know into Bruce Wayne. I just wanted him to be a little bit more representative of my background and giving him an authentic family. You mother! So essentially, self-projection on a character she knows nothing about and didn't create. Right. This can't possibly be a disaster. Oh, and by the way, his real family was shot. Dead. Kind of important, considering, it's the reason he became Batman and all, but why even bother? As for Bruce becoming a billionaire, a preview of the graphic novel indicates the money came from his mother and his mother alone. Oh, for the love of... You know what? Turns out I'm gonna need that aspirin a lot sooner than I thought. Money came from his mother alone. What the... Let's have a look at the preview page from that abomination. Before Masha Dean became Martha Wayne, she was the most beautiful girl in Hong Kong, and from the richest family. Few know it was her money that started Wayne Enterprises. Of course, you can't just desecrate Batman, you have to go for his parents as well. Respect for the dead aside, you just had to make his father into a nobody, right? Sounds about just right. But I'm pretty sure these aren't the last characters we're gonna see a radical alteration. She then admits that Alfred will be gay. Oh.
No, God!
Not Alfred. Leave Alfred out of this. She states that Alfred is not just his butler, but also his uncle. His gay uncle from Hong Kong. It gives it that fabulous, crazy rich Asian sheen to it. Oh.
No, God, please, no! No!
If it wasn't clear this entire book was about pandering, Petili details. This breathes new life into the character, especially in today's world, since we're living in the most diverse world we've probably ever lived in. So it's more representative of Batman in 2020. This is not representative of Batman at all. This is representative of woke culture in 2020. And this thing is Batman in name only. Thank you very much. Moving on. So basically in this next paragraph, the illustrator explains how he projected himself into the character. Shocking, I know. And now we get to learn where the inspiration for this masterpiece came from. When asked on what her inspiration for this story was, De La Cruz admitted she wanted to reinvent Chuck Bass, a prominent character from Gossip Girl. I pitched a kind of Gossip Girl Batman. Gossip Girl and Batman are words that do not go together. It's like oil and vinegar. No, you know what? Forget it. It's like gunpowder and fire. They do not mix well. But go on, do tell us what you thought about. And in my mind, I wanted to reinvent Chuck Bass. He's still Bruce Wayne. It's not the Great Gatsby. So he's still brooding, he's still a loner, he still has that iconic Batman personality, says De La Cruz. That iconic Batman personality that you, by your own admission, know nothing about. So apparently she wanted to do Gossip Girl, couldn't get her hands on the rights, DC called with a paycheck, she took it and took the opportunity to project her own personal fantasies on something she doesn't give a damn about. Sound familiar, anyone? Oh, right. Every one of these writers in the comic book industry. How refreshing. Okay, surely she must have faced at least some opposition to all these radical changes, right? Oh, who am I kidding? Why even bother pretend? She added, but making him Chinese was a no-brainer. Everyone was on board from the beginning. Okay, so gather up everyone and show them the door to Sweet. Petili was much more upfront, admitting the entire slate was wiped clean. He explained, from an artistic standpoint, the history of Bruce Wayne and Batman was essentially wiped clean. I wasn't held down in any way to one specific thing. He added, it gave me an opportunity to think of this character completely different than how other artists have drawn this character over the years. Speaking of other artists, let's have a look at whatever that is and compare it to, oh, I don't know, Dave Finch's work. So, Dave Finch, that. Dave Finch, that. Dave Finch, that. I don't think I need to go on, do I? Okay, so now that we've seen the desecration of Batman, his family, and the mediocre art, what else are you going to wreck? As if we didn't know. Joker, not a villain. You know what? I'm not even going to read this part out loud because it's so mind-numbingly stupid. I've linked the article in the description below, and if you want to do this to yourselves, be my guest. To sum it all up, he talks about Instagram culture, how the Joker was the hardest character to visualize, and how you sometimes sympathize with him. Because, you know, he's just your average lunatic serial killer who mutilates, cripples, butchers, and disfigures people for funsies. And all this time, he was just misunderstood. And he goes on to explain how he essentially molded the character after himself. And also, he claims that the Joker is the character that is most like him. So out of all the characters from the Batman mythos, the crazy clown who sprays people with acid in the face is the character you identify with.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.
And now we move on to A Love Story, where De La Cruz goes on to say the following. I wanted to write about a young Bruce Wayne, so obviously there's going to be a love story. Yeah, a young Bruce Wayne whose parents were killed in front of him when he was a small kid and is emotionally traumatized for life. So the obvious follow-up is, you know, a love story. Sure, why not? And she goes on to say, the Joker's pretty hot. No. The Joker is not hot. The Joker is a murderous lunatic. But then again, that's your idea of hot. You do you. So he's going to be in there. That's where I started. In fact, there's an apparent love triangle between Catwoman, Joker, and Batman. She explained it by referencing Cold Blood. Ah yes, Cold Blood and Gossip Girl, the foundation of the Batman mythos. Oh, it's about to get worse. She adds, it came out of trying to figure out all their desires. What does Jack bring to Selina that's different from what Bruce brings to Selina? Ultimately, you don't know who she's going to pick. You root for both of them, and there's a surprise in the end. Let me take a stab at it. They're going to be in an open freeway relationship. They're going to drop Selina like a hot potato and become a couple, or she's going to drop them both, and she's going to go with Poison Ivy. Am I missing something here? Plans to ruin what characters? So apparently they want to visit characters like Robin. Robin, who isn't even born yet. Batman 17. Nope. Thinking bad. So, at this point, the author of the article wraps things up nicely. Circling the drain might be an understatement. This book deserves to be immediately shredded and then flashed down the toilet. Well, if I'm going to be honest, this book shouldn't be made at all. So, what follows? Wonder Man? The stunning and brave, gender-neutral, non-binary super person? And it's at this moment that I push everything else aside and ask the question. After we drop the false pretenses, the fake wokeness, the forced diversity, who is this actually for? Because it's not for Batman fans, that's for sure. And in the end, this whole thing is going to be a permanent stain on Batman's legacy, created by someone who just cashed in a paycheck, someone who doesn't care about the character, someone who doesn't care about the fans, and someone who only uses this to project herself onto characters that she not only did not create, but does not care about. So the next time somebody asks the question, why is the comic book industry in such bad shape, or Why did it collapse? Instead of trying to go through these long, drawn explanations, simply link them Gotham High and the New Warriors and be done with it. Making him Chinese was a no-brainer. The only no-brainer in this was saying no to this dumpster fire. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this video, maybe leave it a like. Hell, if you feel like it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you around.